figuring my shit out.
Suck a cock. Suck a cock.
Suck on a cock. My voice is shot from striking.
Are you now recording?
No, I'm just like, well, we could be.
I think that I love
Well, I don't
it.
know if this sounds good yet. I wanted to hear it on
It's fine.
playback.
It's going to sound good.
Okay, why don't I pause it? I won't erase it. And this will be the opening.
I would like to procure the bag.
I wanna be a rich bitch. Penthouse store man, money, 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 rich bitch. Hey, give me that bag. Rich bitch. You're so rich.
All right, and it works. That's a
We're
great
sounding
way to
good.
start an
I
episode.
love, yes. Or just a day.
A day.
Or a weekend.
Just
a lunch hour.
What is that called? Because you're more of the singery person. I mean, I grew up singing, but what's the name of it? What we just did?
Well, there's a couple names. It's an arpeggio, which is the actual distance between notes. It's also a vocal warm up, which is something that you want to do if you're going to be singing.
Okay.
What there's a lot of things that it could be. It is also known as fellatio.
Ooh.
There's a lot.
Flash.
There's a lot of layers here.
It's a deep throating, gargly. Yeah, no, my voice is fine. It's just that I can tell there's certain high notes that I'm not hitting. She sounds a little scratchy.
Well, I mean, first of all, it's like pollination station here. Yeah. And you've also been like screaming your brains out on the strike picket line.
Picket lounge.
On the picket lounge. So tell everyone how that's been.
So guys, I am a official strike captain.
Woo, woo.
Typically at HBO in New York City. I try to keep it. I was doing every day. It's not sustainable, truly. Especially the level that I always feel like I give. Like, I can't just be like, hey, ho, ho. Corporate greed has got to go. Hey, I'm like, hey, like living my truth.
Yeah, I mean, you're giving us like club DJ.
We're giving,
yeah,
she's giving. I'll turn on first off, corporate greed has got to go. But truly go away, sis. You're drunk, girl. Go home. No, but like every day, it's magical to go down there, to see so many people that like yourself, or even people that aren't in SAG-AFTRA. Some people that are even in the industry that have just started showing up to my section because they've heard it's a good time, but also that we are here to, fight the man. I mean, it's actually pretty exciting.
Well, I think it's, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like, a sentence I say a lot because we talk about a lot of this stuff.
Literally everything.
But like, there's a general labor movement, like, kind of brewing.
There is.
I feel like the IATSE pink slip thing, which was like a bullet barely dodged. With their renegotiations, and it's not a permanent situation. It's like it's a quick fix for now, so that
It's a Band-Aid.
Right, so that we don't have to shut all of Broadway down.
Yeah.
But
while
then,
everything else is shut down.
Right, and you have like the UPS situation where they have like a temporary agreement for now, and they're going to continue negotiating, and if everyone signs it, then we're good. But like, there's just all of this turmoil within the labor body because we have all just had enough.
Yeah, and I think the problem with like any negativity that I'm hearing when it comes to the labor movement or anything like that is that what we're asking for is like somehow an entitlement thing, when in reality all we're asking for
just
is
like cover my bases.
Just like pay me what I'm worth. Like, that's it. It's not even like, a lot of the things, and I've said this on the podcast before, a lot of the things that we are asking for, and I can say this probably blanketly for most labor disputes right now, are just like safety, money that matches what inflation is for what I'm doing. Give us the numbers of, Netflix iconically and ironically hides their numbers about how much people view things. Yeah. And it's bullshit. And I know why they do it, because if we saw how many people watched what we're making, but what we're getting paid for those things and those rewatches, it would show that we deserve a lot more.
Yeah,
I'd say 1,000 times more than what we're getting.
Well, and also, like, I mean, that's true with all streamers. Spotify at least shows you how many streams you're getting.
And they're like,
but I think,
here's 5 cents.
Right, but like, if we go off of those metrics, like I think I'm up to a collective, I don't know, I'm going to estimate maybe 15,000 streams total on my Spotify. It's not a lot, but I'm proud of it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I think my balance on my Spotify account for that is like $72.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's gross.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
nasty.
especially when you consider how much money I've poured into creating that work and to
Right.
promoting that work, and like, you know,
it all goes hand in hand.
it all goes hand in hand. And so like if we're going to go by those metrics, then like if these shows are getting millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of streams and your residual's 3 cents, like that doesn't make sense.
That's what I mean. It's like, it's not even like we're asking like crazy shit. We're actually asking for stuff that is so base. Like,
so base.
Bruh, like,
well, and also there's that Love is Blind lawsuit that's happening now too that I sent you the other day, which so speaks to this, which is why I sent it to you. It's these 2 guys that were on Love is Blind that have created a not-for-profit that is legal services for anyone who's been on a reality TV show unscripted. Because the psychological warfare that they're alleging was placed upon them in the circumstances under which they were working on Love is Blind.
Yeah.
And then breaking down what they were paid versus the amount of time they were working, it comes down to like way below minimum wage. It was like $7.14 or something like that per hour. So, you know, I mean, it's just all across the board. And I was listening to the commentary that they were making on it, and I was just like, everything that you're asking for, like the answer is just to unionize.
Yeah.
Like just everyone join
Well,
SAG.
that's my thing, and is like, I can understand that people are less, because like we're a guild of talent. We have a talent that we do. We are art. We're giving art. But they are giving entertainment, right?
Right.
But and the thing about reality TV series is like the guys that it's real, that it's reality, that they're giving up their privacy to already be on it. Already there, that's a slippery slope, because like the contract is like, you're going to be, it's about finding literally the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. We're going to look into everything. We're going to air everything. Yeah. So I'm sure what they're coming up against in terms of like optics is that you guys signed literally that you're going to let us watch you find your wife, and you're upset about what? And I think that's the problem, is that you still matter, no matter if they're willing to give away a lot of things like their personal lives and things that I would not do, they still should be able to get food. And still should be able to sleep.
Right.
Right? Because that's really what we're talking about here, right?
Like the one guy was saying how he was like, if you told me that whole experience was a month long, I'd believe you, because I don't know.
Psychologically crazy.
Yeah, it was psychologically crazy.
So you can do all that, guys. You can sell your, no offense, like I truly believe, and I might get heat for this. If you're willing to be in a reality series, you're giving away a lot. You just are. That's what it is. So if you're willing to do that, okay, but not at the expense of your health, right?
Right.
So like, let's make a baseline. So it is different than say what we're asking for, because we're professionals wanting to be paid as professionals that make the millions of dollars. What they're literally asking for, from what I saw, I watched the whole video. From what I saw, what they're asking for is just like, can we eat? Can we sleep? Like, it's reminds me of non-union stuff. Yeah. Where it's like the Wild West and there's no like legislation of anything. I remember when I was pre-union, as I like to say it, I'd be like, hi, is there like water? Like, what's going on? Or like,
can I have a
can
sandwich?
we be wrapped now? Because it's like 12 hours past even, you know? And I could see that happening, because if it's happening on non-union sets where you're creating scripted content where some people are attached typically that you know, or there's some artistry involved that's even more involved, then with this shit, I can only imagine the injustices and the abuses that are happening on a reality series. Yeah. I can only fathom how bad it is.
Well, and also too, I think the point is as well with SAG-AFTRA, like you said, it's like there are people who are providing talent versus non-scripted, which is providing entertainment, and those people oftentimes are not actors. They're just people who like thought this would be a fun experience to sign up for, and then get a rude awakening otherwise. I will say, when I was 16 years old, I auditioned for American Idol. I slept on the sidewalk outside the Javits Center with my poor mother at 16 years old.
How was that?
It was wild. I would still remember, I had this crush on the guy that was sitting next to me. His name was Calvin. He was from Pittsburgh. So Calvin from Pittsburgh hit me up. But we would sing together. And it was so funny because he had this really high whistle, like an actual like whistle, not whistle tone, but like,
he could just whistle.
He could whistle really high. And so what we would do is we would sing Mariah Carey, and then he would stop, and I would just open my mouth, and he would whistle. And people were like, and they would just like look over at us like, oh my God. They'd be like, oh, it was so fun. We had the best time. But
you guys created a variety show on the sidewalk.
That was 3 days on the sidewalk.
3 days on the sidewalk.
3 days on the sidewalk to sit in line and wait to be seen.
Wait a minute. So what would you do at night?
We slept on the sidewalk.
Oh my fucking God, dude.
Yeah, not a lot and not well.
No.
But like, here we are.
So you're supposed to sleep on the sidewalk for 3 days and then come in and do really good performance. Cool.
And I did, but I wasn't chosen.
I believe you.
But like the waiver that we had to sign basically is kind of what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Like they own you.
They own you.
And it was like, it basically was saying...
That's a warning to anyone considering doing a reality series, guys. They will own you. I'm sorry. You guys don't have a union and you don't actually have... Like for variety things where you're proving your talent or whatever, but to truly on paper, it's not saying your talent other than like, you know, obviously America's... whatever, anything where there's like a talent portion, I feel like there has to be a little bit more protections in terms of that. But if you're just in a room trying to not fuck each other or whatever
the rules are there,
it's not going to protect you.
But I do remember in that contract though. I mean, and granted, I was 16, so I might get some of this a little bit wrong.
That's fine.
But I do remember there being something where like anywhere that you worked or any kind of thing that you made for like 3 years after the fact, they owned.
Cool.
And like me being 16 and wanting to be, you know, Britney Spears, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll sign it, fine. But even now, if you listen to interviews with Kelly Clarkson, then she talks about how wild it was, like, to be there and like the shit that they were going through. I remember when she sang "I Surrender," her voice was fucking gone.
Oh my God.
She was like struggling to get through that. And it just was like, I think that was like a testament, at least in my mind, to how hard they were working them and how much sleep they were not getting.
Oh yeah.
And like there's no like reality TV show union. And so these two guys from Love is Blind have kind of started an organization.
Good for them to stand up for the rights of individuals. Like
yeah, absolutely.
I'm just nervous for them because obviously optics wise, there's not as much sympathy as there should be there. Because you are giving away.
Right, it's like you signed up for
You
this.
literally did. But not in America where there's human rights laws. You know what I mean? Like,
but they filmed in Mexico, so I'm wondering if
they filmed a lot in the United States as well.
Okay,
Mexico is the getaway thing. Have you watched the show?
No, I've never watched
the entire show.
Okay,
so I know where they go. It's just that it's based in actual American cities. They just go to Mexico after they've met each other and seen each other. They get flown there. Like romantic week.
Got it. So I'm wondering if they could have gotten away with more there because the laws are probably more loosey-goosey.
Oh, they definitely are. And like he was saying, I think and again, don't quote us on this because we are not right now having a lawsuit personally with them, but just watching that video, it sounds like they were saying the things that they signed as if they were like 1099 workers when in reality
and they filed a W-2.
And they filed
that was so
W-2s
wild.
for them, which is crazy.
That's so illegal.
That's so illegal. So like I'm getting into the things that are actually like illegal that we need to like nip in the bud,
well,
right?
And that also, I think, to that point, if that's what they're alleging, then I would maybe then allege what else is. Or what else are there these streaming platforms getting away with or attempting to get away with? If that allegation is actually proven to be true, then like let's revisit some older contracts and see why the kids from Orange is the New Black are making $4 a year,
right?
And why like people from other shows are getting $0. Yeah. You know, like the Orange is the New Black women were like the most famous people on the planet. Some of them were literally
buying their own, having to pay for their own housing because they were based out of nowhere where they shot it.
Right, and so they made $0 on that show.
But like, they're famous. It's so wild.
That has to be such a weird feeling.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I brought this up. Like Bridget Jones' Diary, like she was fucking like so poor, and she was just like filling her Medicaid mom's prescription when she heard that she was nominated for Academy Award. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is such a mind-blowing thing.
Well, and also, like, I remember, there's tons of stories like this, too, which I think also illustrates the fact that this is a cross-industry problem. I remember hearing, like, when Mariah Carey sang the national anthem at the Columbia basketball game, she had $5 in her bank account, and, like, 2 days later, she was offered $1 million contract. And, like, Kesha had like a #1 song on the radio and she was sleeping in a car eating street tacos.
Facts.
You know, like there's a lot of shit that
also
goes on
work.
in the industry. I mean, I love street tacos. Who doesn't? But like,
seriously,
there's a lot of cross-industry issues where you're manipulating people who have dreams and wants and want to manifest this big life for them, whether that's monetarily or fame-wise or otherwise, who maybe don't have enough business savvy to be like, I want a contract, I want paperwork, I want this in writing, I need to have my lawyer lawyer look at it and make sure that everything is airtight and okay. And I always, and I will die on this hill, and you know why, is have a lawyer.
Truly.
Just have one specific to employment and contract. It doesn't have to be an entertainment lawyer. It just has to be someone who understands contracts, which I would assume it would be most lawyers. I don't know. Mine's amazing.
He is.
But like just have one, and especially people in creative, like, because this shit does happen. You can't always rely on a manager or an agent to catch things. You know, you're one of many, many clients that I'm assuming that they are negotiating for. And so you have to kind of, again, power and autonomy, which we've talked about before, like get your own people that you trust.
I'll have to say too, even with managers and agents, and this is no slight on my current reps, I have a good amount and I like them all. But sometimes I'll be sent something and it'll say in perpetuity, you know, on it. And I'll be like, that's a no for me, dog. Enjoy. But no, thank you. I won't be doing this, but thank you so much, you know? But I'm sure a bunch of people will be like, yeah, put my face on this forever. And if I get it super big, I'll be the girl still on that fucking piece of paper. And it could be for something I don't agree with. And that's fine.
And that's also, I think I remember seeing a conversation about...
no, I can't do things for Pepsi because it was a Coca-Cola thing ever in my life because it's in perpetuity.
Right. And that just like shoots you in the foot for
does.
future jobs. But then I remember also seeing this guy, I don't remember who it was or what it was for, but he was talking about this show that he was on and how they put this like massive billboard of him in downtown LA for the show. And he was like, I wasn't paid for that. I didn't see a dime for that. And it was up forever.
Cute.
And I was working at like this place that like wasn't that TV show. I know you and I have talked about, like, my friend Brian saw some guy from Blue Bloods working at the like shops at Columbus Circle over Christmas time, the Christmas market thing. It's like, and that was like almost 10 years ago. So we're now talking about a decades long problem that has kind of unraveled itself to the point where like you're just not making the base of what you need.
Just the rights to live and to be successful. And also like what I really love, which we are bargaining for and which we will get, let me just repeat, AMPTP, you will give it to us, is a percentage of the stake in the show, right? Because if you're not going to give us residuals, then let's profit share, right? These are other ways to do it where everyone's making money. We're just making the money that we also deserve. So that's the thing. It's like none of this is like going to be costly to them in terms of them not making money. It's better than making none by us as we are on strike a day.
And they're losing how much money?
Losing so much a day, 30 mil, who knows? LA's completely shut down. New York is completely shut down. I mean, the only things being shot again are through our interim agreement, which I really want to get into and I really want to dispel.
Absolutely should talk about this.
Can I go back just real quick to the picket line? Because I want to just make sure people know. So as a reminder, there are 4 picket locations in New York City every single day, Monday through Friday, 9:30 in the morning till noon. It's not very long. It's enough time. It is so important that you show up and show out. People have been. Let me be clear. The movement is strong. Let's keep it going.
And it's been a
so
fucking party, man.
Fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like truly. I play music. I scream. I'm into it. Everyone there is wonderful. Please don't believe. And I think the WGA did a great post on this, on an article about it, essentially saying that the AMPTP has been releasing like little stealth pieces, like things are like it's a shame celebrities just aren't showing up, or it's a shame that this and that, or blah blah blah, and like none of it's actually real, like it's actual blatant lying, like whoever wrote it is actually lying, like because I every day see everyone you've ever thought of, you guys are on the line with us, not trying to stand out, but just are doing their job as union members to make a point to show solidarity that we will not be quiet and just be stepped on and have our money and our autonomy and our images ripped from us. Our creativity is literally what makes millions and millions and billions of dollars. We need to see that as people who created the actual thing.
Agreed.
Fine, distribute it. Wonderful. Thank you for getting it out there. But it wouldn't exist without us. So that's all it is.
Can we get into the A24 of it all in the interim agreements?
Okay, so let's talk about the interim agreement.
I would love to kind of cover that because I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding of what this is.
Absolutely, guys. And I want to get into this right now because I think what's really important, maybe even we clip this part. So there have been a lot of people
not too many, but there has been some sort of misunderstanding on how it all works, that somehow having an interim agreement is weakening us. That's probably an MPTP plants on social media being like, WTF, why are they doing this? You know why we're doing this? And actually, it's a very effective tool at going against the MPTP and showing that we have our own autonomy without them, that we can move forward. So A24, for example, is working with the union using the interim contract, the contracts and things that we asked for at the bargaining table, the MPTP would not do. A24 is willing to do
All of it.
all of it.
They agreed
all of
to
the
all
things
of it.
we have been fighting for. They are literally doing it.
There was no negotiations. They were just like, all right.
They're like, great, let's do it. Let's make that money. Let's go. Let's make some good.
Which is so
creative stuff.
embarrassing for the big networks because of A24, which is, even though they have a huge budget, whatever, it's still
It's
small
not
in
like
comparison
theirs
to
at all.
Disney. You know, so if these small indie like film house, whatever you want to call it, can agree to all the terms that SAG-AFTRA can, then Disney and all the legacy companies absolutely can.
Yep, Netflix absolutely can. Apple absolutely can. Amazon absolutely can. So there is no reason, literally no reason,
Zero.
for them to say no to the things that we asked for. So anyway, the interim agreement is so powerful is that it shows that, hey, look, we're literally doing it without you. Like you said, we weren't going to make this movie because it was originally going to be here. We'll just make it with A24, baby. Enjoy. So it's to me, it's a very good show of solidarity, and the process is very fascinating. If you go to SAG-AFTRA-strike.org, which we've plugged here many a time, it's so laid out, it's so obvious how it works, but yet people online are still spreading misinformation. So if you go on there, you can apply for the interim agreement. They do an investigation on your production. They see who is producing it. They see where the money's coming from, all that thing. They see and if you agree to all the things, then they move forward with it. So there's nothing that's associated with the PTP associated with those productions. Now, to get to the only gotcha moments, this kind of reminds me of the silliness over people freaking out that Fran was literally taking a photo with Kim Kardashian for one day on a weekend. Somehow that speaks volumes about the work she's doing or literally anything else. It's so ignorant and stupid. It's like, do you guys understand how like it works as an actor or a person that you are with a brand and you have to do your effing job, that her being president does afford her money. It just affords her the ability to be our president and work for us.
Well,
and
again,
hard.
that is a volunteer
We are all
situation.
volunteers, guys. Us on the board are volunteers. We are elected volunteers. Let's be clear. We're not just walking in and be like, I'll do it. We're elected. Okay,
I
you voted for
volunteer.
us, and that's why we're here. And the reason we're here is not just is not for money, because we're certainly not getting money for this. We're doing it because we care about what's happening in our union, because we want to make change. We want to fight for our rights. And that's exactly what Fran has been doing, and that's exactly what the negotiating committee all was doing, which she was tuned into the entire time. So her going and doing her job and being next to Kim Kardashian, don't you think that's pretty powerful as a union leader to have everybody be on our side and have other people do photo ops with our people? Don't you think it's like an agreement that shows that there's solidarity even from like someone like Kim Kardashian? Hello. So my point is like, that was so stupid and such a distraction. My response to that was always like, why are you mad? I'm just so confused about all of this. Now, I don't understand the anger that I think I'm getting from plants, but I'll pretend that they're real actors on Instagram that write comments. Maybe you are real, and I hope, if you're real, I hope you're listening to this, that are upset, saying that we're weakening each other. I've had some friends close to me too message me about this, but that's different. That's a private message. That's not you going ballistic on social media. That some things that we have negotiated with, like an interim agreement with someone, it's being made and then it's slated, supposedly. I don't know how everybody knows the ins and outs of everything, but let's just say they do, that it's slated to go on Apple Plus. Okay? That does not mean that we are scabbing or that we are weakening ourselves. It means that if it is going out on Apple Plus, which I highly doubt it will, but let's just say it does, that means Apple Plus, which is one of the companies we're striking against, has agreed to our demands on that contract and will be doing exactly what we were arguing about.
Right, because
for
otherwise
6
they
weeks.
wouldn't be able
Otherwise,
to
it
put it on
wouldn't
the
be
platform.
happening. So
Right.
my point is, if Apple Plus does it, we're winning beyond, because now one of the companies that would refuse to do it in the boardroom or in the negotiating room rather is now just doing it in practice, and we've got them. We fucking got them. We did it without even having to have them tell us that we got them. They just sign it. We got them. Do you understand? So for you to be mad and think that's what we're scabbing, like, that's insane. And again, please understand how SAG-AFTRA contracts work. They not just only protect the actors, they protect where it's going. They protect everything from the profit sharing to everything up from the top to bottom. That's what these interim agreements are doing. They're the agreements that we wanted that we weren't getting from the AMPTP in the office. If we're getting it outside of the office from someone and it's going to be distributed on one of those channels, that means that that channel now has sided with us or has caved or has agreed that it is stupid that we're still here. So again, it's not probably going to come out on Apple. I'm going to be real with you. It's probably not even going to remotely come out on Apple because everyone's being a stick in the mud in AMPTP. But if it is, that means someone from AMPTP stepped back and said, you know what? Fuck it. Let this come out on my thing. I'm going to pay them, do everything they asked for. And that's what's going to happen. So it's a win. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, and I think the people who are obviously the most vocal about a lot of this stuff that don't know what they're talking about are the ones who don't really participate in the industry in the same capacity
Truly.
as those of us who are not saying stuff because we know.
Right.
But we need to remember that show business is a business.
Truly.
And like learning the contracts and knowing the ins and outs of everything and how everything works is just going to strengthen you as a performer, as an actor, as an entertainer, as an artist. Because then when situations like this do arise, you know what you're talking about. And you don't have to like seek out reliable sources to find out what the actual situation is. You can literally just make the decision on your own and have that autonomy over yourself.
Facts.
Learn the fucking business, guys.
Just
like,
learn it.
It was my biggest gripe with theater. So many people in theater like want to bitch and complain about the way that things are run, but they have never produced anything. They've never been on the creating their own thing backlog pipeline of things.
And at the very least, have they ever gone to a meeting about wages and working?
Like,
Have they ever gone to a
literally
committee? Have they ever
never.
joined a committee? Have they
No.
ever tried to change anything? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, the committees within equity are touch and go, and that's a different conversation for another time. But that is the most. I don't want to get too far off here, but like in the weeds. But like that was always my biggest complaint about being a part of committees within that union because they never met. In like the 3-4 years that I was on like 3 or 4 committees, I think one committee met twice, and that was it.
Lord.
And then the other one they dissolved. So like.
Okay.
Yes, get involved, but like with a grain of
Well,
salt.
I'm speaking from a SAG-AFTRA standpoint, I guess is my thing is like,
no, of course.
you know, and I think, of course, as in any union, and again, I'm speaking to this as an individual. I'm not speaking it as a mouthpiece of the union because first and foremost, I'm Sarah motherfucking Seeds and I'm an actor who's a member of SAG.
Boom.
That's what I am. So when I talk on this podcast, please know that I'm not speaking from an official standpoint. I'm speaking as someone who has experience, who has worked in the sector, and is speaking as an individual. And I will say, I always do see, like you were saying, to co-sign entirely with what you just said, a lot of the times the most angry, hostile people, and I'm sorry, I hear your pain, I feel your frustration, are the ones who are not in the room trying to change jack shit, or are not trying to find solutions, or not just calling their union and saying, these things aren't working for me, what can I do? What can you do? What's happening? Because all I do is hear them bitch on set, or I hear them bitch on their social media. And then when I ask them, okay, so how, some people I've reached out with privately, what exactly are things you're having issues with? And it's things that are sometimes have nothing to do with actual guilds and what we even do. That also kills me too. Like someone was like, well, there's less picture car work for background. We have less picture car work. I'm like, okay, so you're upset with why? Because I'm not getting as much work with my car. And I'm like, okay, so here's what's happening. So you're upset that the production companies and distribution platforms and networks and streaming platforms aren't making enough shows for you from that era of 1987 for them to use your car. What do we have to do with any of that other than
literally nothing.
Other than make sure when you do work, you're getting paid well. That's what we're doing.
Right. And I think it's
What?
I think it's kind of a misunderstanding. At least I can speak to the theater side of this, and because I don't want to put words in SAG-AFTRA's mouth. But like the job of the union is not for you to work; it's for when you are working,
You're protected.
You're protected.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't matter if there's not enough work in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah,
the
we
fact
want
of the
there to
matter is
be.
we want there to be, and that's something.
That's why we're having people use our contracts. Blah blah
Exactly,
blah.
and that's one of the reasons. That's one thing that I think SAG-AFTRA in comparison is stellar at is that they make it so easy to utilize those contracts, whether you are SAG or not. You can still pursue those contracts.
Truly,
and make people SAG and make people SAG eligible and Taft-Hartley them and all that, like all
or
of those
work
things.
with a lot of union people and have some pre-union people on set with you. And it's such a great learning experience, such a great body of like a culmination of interactivity and like learning from each other. But
Yeah, so like there's ways to do this. It's just like, but our job isn't like to make sure that more shows from 1987 are made for you in your car.
Right. To which I
What?
will always say, then go make something that includes your 1987 car. like if you see a hole that's not being filled that you would like to fill,
God.
go do it.
And there's a big difference you see, and what I hate is like, you know, there's a lot of responsiveness from people that maybe aren't in our acting field. They go, wah, 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 do another job if you don't like whatever. So what I'm saying right now when I'm saying make your own picture car stuff so you can use your car, that's a very different argument than us just saying, for the things that made you guys millions, pay us accordingly.
Of
right?
course,
There's a baseline of living that everyone should have if they're working for something that's creating profit. Because we live in a free market capitalist system. If this thing is making you bank, I should be seeing some of that.
I agree.
That's what we're fighting for.
And I will actually point to Hamilton, the musical, as an example of this. So when that show first went on Broadway, the principal cast and ensemble cast band together against the producers and basically said, hey, like, we knew this was going to be a hit, but this is insane, dude.
Truly.
And so they essentially fought for profit sharing negotiations. And so now every person who was in the original cast of that show has a profit share within it because they created this massive conglomerate that is like on Disney Plus and was like sold, like that deal was like $74 million. There are multiple tours going around. There's the pro shot. Like there's so much money coming through from Hamilton that discontinuing paying someone who helped create that once their contract is over, I think is is similar to what we're talking about with not paying correct residuals for someone who created a piece. And they fought for it and they got it. And so more of that, please, within the new age, if you will, TV streaming world, where like, yeah, it's great to get that pay when you're on set, but then once you leave set, if you've contributed to an original work, like you should continue to be paid for it and
because
appropriately.
You're gonna be, like 40 years from now, they're still playing it and making millions off of your face,
and you're getting
not
what,
seeing a dime.
$7? Like fuck that.
Bro, come the fuck on.
Come the fuck on. And especially when like these tech companies, which is what they are, like those streamers, they're tech companies, they're not movie houses. Their bottom line is to bolster how much money that they've made in a quarter, in a year.
Yep.
And all they talk about is growth. So when you see one of these conglomerates being like, "Oh, we made $700 billion last year," and
the
you
star
get
of the show's like, "Where's my money?"
and they're like, "I got a residual check for 9 cents."
3 cents
like,
once,
like that's that's fucked up, man.
It's
like,
LOL. It's like you could have. This paper costs more than the damn check.
right. And you know what's funny to me is that these fuckers are always the ones that are stroking themselves off to the trickle-down economics of the Reagan era. But then when it comes time for them to actually do it, they're like, oh, just kidding. Here are your pennies that you can rub together to, like, you know, start a fire and make the next thing. Because it's so hypocritical and it makes me so angry that they're all like, oh, trickle down, blah, 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 blah. But then when we ask them to trickle it down, they're like, oh, no. There's no trickling here. This is a trickle-free zone. Not R. Kelly.
Yeah. Truly, of it all. No, but it's well, guys, and even on top of that, it's so LOL because every single one of them not only says the same fucking things, but then they give each other bonuses that are like in the tens of millions every year.
Millions.
And you're like, you won't put that towards like an entire production staff or people, like an entire cast that just you're fucking assholes.
And also that 10 million could then be rolled into creating more things to pay more people to create more jobs to make them more money.
The reason it's not working,
it's the circle of life.
It's not
you're
us.
the problem. It's you. It's just
you.
It's this circle of money reciprocity that they're just not contributing to. All the money is like circling up to the top, and then it's like little driblets coming back down. And so therefore that depletes the people who are creating the thing that makes the capital. And so of course this happened.
Yeah.
You know, and this isn't just entertainment industry specific. Like this, I just saw something that like Starbucks has taken the tipping option away from their employees because they threatened to strike. And so you can no longer digitally tip Starbucks employees. It's the same thing that we're talking about. It's
and you know what? How fake is that? Because that's such a quote unquote liberal company from Seattle and we care.
You care so much with your burnt ass coffee.
Yeah, with your burnt. No.
I mean, I'm still gonna go there and like whatever, but yeah.
I mean, now that I know this, I'm a little less inclined. But like, I didn't know this, you know.
Yeah,
So
I just saw that today. So if anyone is a little bit wiser to this situation, then please by all means fact check me.
Yeah,
because I just saw it this morning.
Will they take dollar? Can I give them money cash?
Probably. I mean, they still have like the little plastic thing on the counter, as far as I know.
Be putting cash in that thing.
Yeah.
Because it's bullshit.
It is bullshit. But this is happening everywhere. You know, all of these companies jerking themselves off with their billions of profit and growth. And then like everyone that works for them is like fucking starving. It's bullshit. And I'm very much like I don't want to say very much, but I'm pretty 50-50 on like burn the house down and let's start over.
Sure.
But this is kind of one of them.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm here for the AMPTP to come to the table and negotiate.
Yeah, because that will create a standards and practices that we can then jump off of too.
Yes, but then also, you know, A24, like you're free to create your own streamer, boo.
You literally can.
Like we're all behind you, y'all. Yeah. So if you want to create A24 Plus, like by all means, I will cancel all of the things and subscribe to that, and then we can just watch that transference of focus. Because, you know, like, do I think that the AMPTP will come to the table in good faith and negotiate? I think eventually they will.
Have to. Eventually there's nothing they can do because they're hemorrhaging too much. They have to do something.
Well, I also kind of want to get into this too, because there is the what if scenario of playing devil's advocate in this situation where I think I sent it to you this morning too, where this talk about you know, the example that was given was like, let's say you're a big Lord of the Rings fan and you don't like that the series is over and you want to see more content of Lord of the Rings. You can come home to your AI television and be like, hey, make me an episode of Lord of the Rings that does X, Y, and Z with the original cast, blah, 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 blah. And then the AI will create an episode for you in real time that you can then watch. And that will be terrible. That would be terrible.
That would be so ugly.
And there were a couple other examples of that where the viewer, where the consumer can kind of create the content, which then knocks out the writers, knocks out the actors. There was also a discussion about subscribing to actors or the avatar of the actors and being able to talk to them. Okay. Directly, almost like what is that? Cameo. Sure. Almost like Cameo, but it would be AI. Sure. So then you pay however much dollars a month to subscribe to, like, you know, like Lizzo, probably a bad example right now. Just kidding. Allegedly.
What the hell, my phone?
TBD.
I'm supposed to get him.
But pay like $4.99 a month to subscribe to whatever celebrity, and then be like, hey, X celebrity, do this.
Sure, man. Well, when I hear that, I go, that's going to be terrible.
Terrible.
So, LOL on that. Enjoy that for about 5 months, and then I'll see you guys again back at art. Because here's my thing. There have been societies where they have banned art. They have banned creativity, literally in societies. They have burnt the Library of Alexandria to the ground. They have killed artists. They have murdered people that are creative. They've murdered rebellions and voices of the people and all that stuff. And yet still here we are. So my thing is, with the amount of exposure we have for ourselves on social media as artists, from our own networks, from independent A24 kind of places, from all of us creatives who actually know how to make things on our own. We actually do. I do. Done it multiple times. I have 3 things right now that are in post. I did that. Did I need an AMPTP for that?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. So my thing is like, even if that is what they try to do, and they're like, you know what? Instead of just losing money, we're going to make everyone just like sandbox their own existence with these like empty vessel people, and they're going to uncanny valley their way through the things that they love. It's not going to last.
No, I think...
Because we'll be making stuff in tandem.
Right.
And it's not going to be that. It's going to be much better.
Yeah. Well, and I think
we can't go away. We won't go away. Artists will never go away, honey. Women will never go away, bitch. Gays will never go away.
Never
We're
once.
Here.
We built this bitch.
We're staying here.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about that. That's number one. You can't get rid of labor. You can't get rid of artists. You can't get rid of women. You can't get rid of gay people. You can't get rid of good quality human emotion, art pieces. You can't get away from it. You will
No.
never get rid of it.
Never.
It's going to happen. You're going to try to beat us down, and we're going to come out of the cracks like cockroaches and keep making this shit. We'll never die.
Well, and I also think it's
Good luck.
I think it's really interesting to kind of tie this conversation into the NPC live stream trend that's happening on TikTok too. Like I've watched some of those and they are insane.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of these?
I saw like one, and I didn't understand what was happening really.
So basically, humans will dress up in any particular way, and then they'll just act like an NPC bot. And people, like, they make thousands of dollars a month doing this. Because, like, hundreds of thousands of people will pop on their live streams and send them gifts and send them, like, different things that you can do on TikTok.
So what do you mean? Explain that to me.
So, like the most famous one that I'm aware of, her name is Pinky Doll.
Okay.
And she does this whole AI bot thing where she like glitches and then she like talks to the screen. She's like, "Thank you for the roses. Smells so good."
Oh, okay.
And like keeps and
Oh,
like
it's performance art.
yeah, it's
Yes,
like
it's fabulous.
it's on a loop.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if that trend is something that is kind of preconditioning us for what we were just talking about, where we have like AI versions.
I don't think
of
so,
different
because like when
celebrities.
if I were to go to watch that, it wouldn't be because I think it's an actual computer. I'd want to go to watch a person acting like a computer.
Right, well, it's
and
like
that's
it's
the
an
meme,
anthropological
right?
like
That's the meme, right? That's
Yeah.
the commentary. I'm watching social commentary.
Yeah.
That's like when people watch like the sequel to Borat. Oh my God, like such a scathing commentary on us as a society.
Scathing.
But some people would view that as like he's just acting like a moron and just being a misogynist, and that's like the movie. But that's not what it is. He's playing one. He's acting. He's doing commentary. So to me, it's like awesome. You're real human life people making money, pretending to be avatars and NPCs. I think that's just a great art piece, to be honest.
Yeah.
Go for it. Because like when it starts to become it's actually that's boring. I'm
That's
sorry.
boring.
After a while, you're going to be like, but this is fake. And now I'm not like really into it.
Well, because I mean, human connection is an innate thing that we all need,
Right.
and so being able, and so
it
seeing
sounds like a
someone,
performance art piece. Honestly, it's brilliant.
you really should watch some of them. They're
Yeah.
they're super wild.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Because like part of you is like, this is embarrassing and uncomfortable.
It is.
And then the other part
But
of
how
you,
good is that you're thinking? It's
Right.
making you feel something.
yes, and then the other part of it is like, why is this working? Like
Right.
these people have hundreds of thousands of people on their stream. They're making
Yeah.
thousands of dollars a month doing it.
Yeah.
And more people are starting to hop on the bandwagon.
Sure.
It's so weird.
Well, it just sounds like a trend. You know, it's like it's going to go
Right.
well. I think it's cool. I honestly think it's fascinating because it's like human beings acknowledging that we're headed down a weird path.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's social commentary, really. And they're just like making money. And I think it comes to a point, though, if that's actually what happens, which won't happen because we will stop this. But let's just say if that happens, that's all we've got. No one want to watch that because we know the jig is up. We know what the gig is. We know it's just not real anymore.
Right. Well, and also you just saying that kind of makes me feel like by having real humans do it now, that kind of like will create this stark contrast between
When it really actually
happens. We'll be like, this isn't the same.
It's lifeless. What is this?
Yeah, because like it's the funny part of it is too when these people. They kind of like, there's one woman that's come across my For You page a couple times where she's like doing it and then she cracks herself up and she goes off camera. Oh no, I'm being phone called.
professionals.
It's my sister. I will call her back.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know how to turn that off.
Oh, wow. Technology.
I don't understand.
There's an AI for that. No, I'm just kidding.
There probably is. Ugh.
Ugh. No, but
Shout out to Madeline who just called me.
Yeah, hey, Madeline, you're on the pod. No, but I think that's, dude, exactly. Like, so again, I always approach things from a logical standpoint, and then also like as an artist and a human standpoint. Sure, if a lot of people are making money off that, they're actually people. They're human beings making money
Right.
off that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When it starts to become like AI's doing it, people will lose interest. There's no way you'll see the difference. And I think this is social commentary. It's
I
brilliant.
mean, I hope you're right because I feel like there's a lot of.
And even if it's not, they're making some right now. Like,
Exactly.
That's a social, by even existing and making an AI, watch me be AI kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just humans playing AI. It's literally still an art. It's still acting.
No, totally. And I just think that because we have so many different corners of the internet that are unregulated in
have viewers.
entertainment, of course they are. I just mean like because it's unregulated, it's a new frontier
Sure.
kind of thing. Like there's a lot of margin for error and for things to go completely wrong.
Sure.
But I'm just curious. I'm curious to see how that's going to go down.
I also think too, that's the beauty of us. It's the beauty of us as humans. We're going to make stuff and it's going to either be good or bad, and that's okay. And as long as we are protected government-wise, our autonomy is protected, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I was down at City Hall
Yeah, you were.
just last week on Tuesday. Yes. And our city and our state passed, things to support us. Like they're going to literally, the government is supporting our movement.
I love that.
It's very cool.
New York leading the way.
Yeah, New York is just like, no, we're in it. We're in it to win it. Y'all are.
Yeah. Well,
Also,
I mean,
think about it from a city
unions-
council. Think about it from a city council or New York City standpoint. The city now is losing tons of money because we have studios here, you guys. Everyone wants to film the New York City.
Kaufman.
Everybody, yep. Hoffman Astoria. Yeah, get that girl.
That one, yeah.
Also known as Astoria Kaufman.
Kaufman's here.
No, but seriously, like there's so many studios where and our city is such a great backdrop for everyone wants to film here so they can have New York in the back or
Right.
live a New York life or be in this New York story.
Not
and
the same
that
as
hurts.
a soundstage.
Yeah, not there's like nothing like New York. That's always like the worst thing when you see something and you're like, is that New York? Because it ain't. That's what is this, Boston? What is this
Yeah,
shit?
it's like the upside down. You're
Yeah,
like,
it's
what
really
is-
like,
is-
what the fuck? Anyways,
what are you gaslighting?
there's very
me
few
into
shows that
believing
pulled
it's
it
New
off
York?
when not actually shooting in New York. But I will say, like, yeah, it's hurting us too economically as a city. So of course the city council's like, y'all got to get your money so we can get back to getting our money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we have huge tax incentives in the city, in the state, for some of the
Absolutely.
biggest ones in the country, if not the best ones. So people want to film here because you're going to get a tax break. You're going to get lots of kick. It's amazing. So we can thrive because they did a study about, I think it was last year, which showed how much money we make in New York, and it's in the billions.
Oh yeah, Broadway too.
Yeah, exactly. That's we as artists, like we just make
Yeah.
money. The entertainment industry is
Multi-billions.
billions for just this. So of course they're like, y'all need to get back to work. They need to sit down with them and figure this shit out. Because like even from a human standpoint, of course, from labor standpoint, of course, the state is so pro labor. It's so into that. But from a monetary standpoint of our society, of our city, we need this to be happening.
Yeah, and New York loves
Our
its
catering
money.
companies are going under.
Yeah.
There's so many things that are going under as a result of this strike that we didn't want to do, but we have to do.
Right. Well, and I think you make a good point about like a lot of the different facets of a set or creating something that are not necessarily the forefront of consideration, which is the people who come up with crafty. Like, where's that
Catering.
food company coming from? Like, you're supporting small businesses by ordering locally and having
Prop
the accuracy
houses.
prop houses, transportation houses that bring that shit to set. Like, there's so
Van
many
rental
different
companies for productions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hotels for out of towners, like flights for out of
There's
towners.
so many people in my phone. Like I'm like, hey, Edge Rental, hey, CC Rentals, hey, da da da, hey, but like I knew which places to get vans. I know where to rent film. Shout out to Brooklyn Film. Like I know how to get their like where to get cameras or where to get you know what I mean? Like these are all things that are going to be hurting right now because we're on strike. And again, when we were on the national board voting for this, it hurt us in our souls to have to do this.
Yeah.
But we only did this because of the inhumane stuff happening behind the scenes. You guys saw some of the leaks. I can't really get into all of them, but you saw that we're just going to wait for writers to be homeless and then hope that they do this. That's psychotic. Those are not the people that need to be dictating what's happening. We need to change that.
Dictating being the operative word.
Dictating. Those men, literally all men.
Dictating. Isn't it always?
Like they'll say a woman's name to be like the representative amputee, female. I'm like, right, but sure,
You're right. She's your sock
sure,
puppet.
I
like,
get it.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I saw a poster of every single AMPTP CEO person. They all seem to be men to me, so I really don't know what's going
they're
on.
all men of a certain age
Yep,
that
they're
are
all old.
of a certain
Old as fuck.
melanin tone.
Non-melanin, zero
Non-melanin.
melanin. They got no mel, but also they also just don't have it. And I'm also going to go into them as human beings. They don't think like we do.
No,
they
they're
don't
out of
sit next to
touch.
real people. They don't. They don't go on the trains. They don't sit. When they go into a car, someone is driving them 6 feet away from them. When they are in a plane, they've made it so they're like alone on that plane. Or if there's someone around them, it's people working for them. The dynamic is not, let's be human. The dynamic is, let us be
Rich.
rich. And cool. But let's also be rich together, boo-boos.
Right. Let's all be rich.
Right? How to be a rich bitch. That's what this podcast
Yeah.
is. But guess how it's not? Don't be a rich bitch by stepping on others.
And keeping everything to yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
that's not wealth, really.
That's not wealth. That's scarcity
That's fucking
bullshit.
horrifying.
That's scarcity bullshit when you're making millions of dollars a year.
That's sociopaths, honey.
It's so stupid.
That's socio, baby.
Yeah.
You got problems in your head. I'm sure you're disturbed by what we're saying, probably because you've never thought about it, Bob Iger.
Bob Iger.
I'm sure that's disturbing to you with your boat hands and your fucking designer your fucking boat hands.
Your boat hands like staff. I literally was picturing like hands.
No, I'm talking about his hands or boat
His
hands.
actual. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
because he has a yacht. These
No,
hands
I know, he has a
these
huge
hands
yacht.
are just there's nothing on them.
Right.
Yacht hands.
I immediately had like pictured cruise ships coming out of his arms.
Yeah. I love that.
Boat
No, seriously, you have boat hands. I have hands of an actor. I have hands of a person who takes a subway. I have hands of a human being. He has hands he has yacht hands. You don't have no hands.
Yacht hands.
So his brain, you can only imagine, is made of whatever. I have no idea what's going on.
It just feels like they're all like smoothed over.
Yeah. They're just like, I don't know.
I
say
don't know
things.
people.
I think human like sustenance. Yeah, and it's like, dude, who are we talking to?
You know, I will tell you, I will try to convey this as much as I can without implicating myself here. Like the place at which I was working for the last month or so, which is a very, very high level, multi-trillion-dollar finance situation. The person that I was taken care of while I was there, essentially, I mean, flies private, like does all the things. Lovely human.
Right.
Loved them.
Right.
And had a conversation with him and myself and this other admin person about how it was so important to him when he had children to make sure that he raised them with the understanding that everyone is the same.
Yes.
Whether it's the doorman or the person driving the car or the person driving the bus or like CEOs and celebrities and millionaires.
Your teachers.
He's
and
like,
your
everyone
politicians.
is the same. And like hearing that as I'm like booking him his private jet was kind of like honestly refreshing. And
it is.
And like that's the kind of person that I'm down for.
100%.
Having that
I'm not
kind of
here
wealth.
for. First off,
Like,
can I be that person? We're on
Literally.
our way. Listen, I'm on my way. I'm gonna
We
have
all are.
my own whatever.
Here we are.
But my point is that be a human while you're doing it.
Exactly.
Right.
And
Just
I
be
really,
a person.
I really wish that that kind of mentality was more on the forefront.
Yeah.
Of literally everything.
Yes.
Because it does give the whole we're detached, we don't understand humanity, we don't understand what it's like to be a human being down on the streets when stuff like this happens. Because it's just like, well, you know, we have $100 million. Why don't we get 100 million more? Like,
Yeah, why
what
not?
the fuck do you need that for?
Why don't we pull a full
LA
Newsies
has a huge
and do
homeless
it?
problem. New York has a huge homeless
Massive.
problem. And, you know, it's just like, I don't know. These people that like, we know the numbers of, I feel like we're getting in the weeds here, but I'm going to say it anyway. We know the numbers of how much it would cost to solve world homelessness.
Yeah, truly.
And there are probably like one or two people who could take their bonuses
And just like
at these
change
companies and solve it.
Yeah.
Because the number is surprisingly not that high.
Right.
In consideration.
In comparison to their wealth.
So it really is just like this whole detachment from like normal, regular, everyday humans.
And then there's like The Rock or somebody who donated like whatever
$1
millions.
million. And
Yeah.
I think so did Seth MacFarlane.
Yep. They're just donating money.
My hero.
Oh, God.
My absolute hero. I fucking love him.
Yeah. Love him. But yeah, that's my thing. It's like that's what all we're saying is like it's not a crime to be rich. This literal podcast is how to be that person, not just wealth wise, but to be rich in
the embodiment
love,
of it.
in your family, in your friends, in your way you self-love, being rich in all things, tasting wonderful foods, experiencing wonderful things, having a bank account that supports that as well. Like these are all things we're talking about. It's all encompassing. So there's nothing wrong, believe me, for being a rich bitch, but there's something wrong for being inhuman.
Right.
Inhuman. Where is the
then
empathy?
you're just a bitch.
Because then you're just a fucking bitch. But then you're AI. You're a robot.
Yeah.
So it's so ironic that they want to replace us with AI, but they literally are acting like AI.
I mean, they're kind of NPCs in a way.
Yeah, they are. They look at spreadsheets, look at charts, and they fuck up a lot. They keep losing money, half of them, when they have so much money because they're making bad decisions.
Yeah.
But
And
they're
so then
doing them based on stats and numbers. And I'm like, but a robot could do that.
Right. Like
So if anything, why are you still
they're
here?
replaceable.
Yeah, like you're actually replaceable. We're
Right.
actually not. That's what's so ironic. But it's usually like that way, isn't it? It's usually the people that are most afraid of being replaced that try to replace others.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we see you. We see your ass, AMPTP.
We see your ass.
We see your pee-pee, AMPTPP. We see your ass. And we do. Because honestly, we're out here, we can be starving honest all day long and scream and picket, and we mean every bit of it, and we will fight you tooth and nail, and you will then sit down with us so we can make this shit pop off. And until then, you're going to be losing millions and millions and millions and millions and millions a day. You know what we're losing? What you already paid us, which is not as much as you. Yeah. So you're losing a lot more honey. So sit down. Take a seat.
Sit down.
So that's what I got. And put the money on the table,
This was fiery. This was fiery
Yeah,
today.
I was here for that.
I'm here for it too. I don't think we've had a fiery episode in a while.
I think we needed it.
I think we needed it too.
Because, I mean...
I can get a lot fierier.
Me too. I've had to, obviously.
Right, exactly, yes.
We both know that. We both know that we both could get a lot more fiery on this thing. But I also want to make sure... I'm also saying the words that I say in every board meeting, which is decorum. Decorum,
right.
Decorum. Sarah? Decorum. So
I will not lose
I'll
my shit.
scream, though, outside. You'll
shit.
see me
I
at the
will not
picket,
lose my
guys.
shit.
You can see me go off there. And you can see me go off on my social media, but I really think it's very important that we're doing it in a calculated and smart way instead of just damning and also spreading misinformation. I am very sick of misinformation. So I'm also fired up because how dare some of the people that claim to be artists attack other artists for wanting to be paid a fair wage? What is wrong with you? Get it together.
Yeah.
You're drunk, Deborah. Go home.
Go home.
You smoked the wrong end of a cigarette, bitch.
Or go to SAG-AFTRA-strike.org.
Yeah, there we go. Or just go to SAG-AFTRA-strike.org for all your strike info.
Official information from SAG-AFTRA themselves.
Anyway, guys, this has been us. Be rich bitches, but be ethically conscious rich bitches.
Agreed.
You're so rich.
Pay me.
Get the bag.